already taken the input. So in input contains binary string, which is a string 111011 and k and n, right? So if you will see, we have to do two tasks. The first task is prefix sum, right? And the second task is to get the minimum, right? Now, what should we do? How can we can calculate the prefix sum, right? So for that, we can create one array. We have to create one array. So I'll name this as prefix sum, and it will be an array, and the size will be of size n, right? So we have the prefix array. Now let's try to see how many flips are required, right? So again, I'll go and I'll say int I equals to 0, I less than n, and I plus plus, and every time what I require. So I need to check whether the flip is required or not. So let's try to understand how we can check if flip is required. So let's say we have the string 11101. I wanted to compare this with 01010, right? So can I get, like, for example, if I am on 0th index, I want to compare it with 0. If I am on first index, I wanted to compare it with 1. If I am second index, again, I wanted to compare it with 0. On third index, I wanted to compare it with 1. And on fourth index, I wanted to compare it with 0. Are you guys able to see the pattern? I hope yes. So this is nothing but I percent 2. So if you take the remainder from the index, you'll be getting this, right? So for example, 0% 2, 0, 1% 2, 1, 2% 2, 0, 3% 1, 3% 2, 1, 4% 2 is 0, right? So I can compare this with this, right? I can compare this with I%, right? Let's compare this. So I will say, hey, if your binary string of I is equals to I%, do we agree? If both of them are same, then what you should do? You should make the prefix sum of I equals to 0 because both are same, so no flip is required, right? What is the else case? The else case is though both are not same. So here we required to flip the thing, right? So I will say it will be 1, right? Now the second part, here I'm actually calculating the prefix sum. So I'll go for loop and I'll start with 1. I'll start with 1. So let I equals to 1, I equals to 1, and I is less than prefix sum dot length I plus plus, and every time what I wanted to do, every time I wanted to uh, sum the previous one, right? So I can say prefix sum of I is equals to prefix sum of I minus 1 and plus prefix sum of, hope that makes sense. And after that, I'll be having the prefix sum. So let's try to console that out and check what is the output. So let's check the prefix sum. Let's try to run this. So here we have the prefix sum 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So let's check if it is correct for this or not. So we have triple one, zero, double one, triple one, zero, double one. If I'll compare it with 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, how many flips will be required? One flip will be required, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0. So the prefix sum will be 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. So is it the prefix sum? So 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. It's correct, right? So let's move forward. And now here we have to check the each window. Check window and find minimum flip required, right? Required. So first of all, we have to find the minimum. So we have to save the minimum. So I'll say let minimum flips is equals to what can be the minimum what can be the maximum flip that can be there. So I think k flip will be required at most, right? Let's say all are not its correct place. So we like at max we require k flips. So we have to find lesser than this, right? So again, I can go through the loop. So I can start with 0, I plus k. So I'm just talking about the window. So if I start from I and add k in it, so I'll be reaching at certain position, and I want the difference between them, right? So I plus k is less than n and I plus plus every time, right? And every time, not every time, but now there are two scenarios, right? So if you remember, so let's say you have prefix sum and you wanted to see, hey, how many ones are there in from 0 to 3? Is it 3? 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So how many ones are available between this section? So here we know this is 3 and we have to subtract it from here, right? So this is what? This is nothing, right? So this is 0 we have to consider. So this is one of the edge case that we have to take care. So answer here will be 3 minus 0, but we have to take care if I is equals to 0, some different scenario will be required, right? Let's say you wanted to do the same with for this. Now here you can subtract 4 with the 1 and you will be getting number of ones uh, on the instance, right? So it is general case, but one corner case is there. Let's take care of this as well. So I'll say if I is not equals to 0, so I'll try to find the answer in some different way. So I'll say the flips is equals to prefix sum of I plus k minus prefix sum of I minus 1. Do we agree? So let's say we wanted to find the prefix sum between this and this. So I subtract 4 with the 1, I'll be getting 3 and see how many flips are there. 3, right? We already discussed this. So we have flips. Now let's try to find the minimum. So I'll say min flips will be equals to math dot min, right? And here I can say min flip and also zero one, or either I can make them 1010, right? So what is the scenario here, right? So the second scenario is key I subtract the k with the flips, right? So I think this is the scenario, and whatever the minimum, I'll get the minimum. And if I is equals to 0, so it will be obviously else condition. So I will say the flips will be different only, right? So flips will be prefix sum of I plus k minus it will be I plus k, right? Minus 0 will again keep it to same. And I think this statement will be same. So I can keep this out of the loop here, and I think we'll be good to go. And let's console dot log min flips. So I think this should do the trick. Let's try to run this and check whether it's working or not. Uh, uh, uh. So let's run it. So flips is not defined. Okay, flip is okay. I need to make this change. So let's consider it k here, and let's remove this. So I think this should work now. So here it says, hey, you require the zero flips. Let's check is if this is case or not. So our string is triple one zero double one, and the k is of size 4. So this is k. So here I think one flip is required. This is k. Here also one flip is required. This is k. Here also one flip is required. So the answer that we are getting is wrong, right? So what? Why this is the case? So one thing. So let's say 0 plus 4. Okay. So I feel one thing is this. So instead of comparing with it with 0 plus k, I have to compare it with 0 plus k minus 1, right? And I think that's it. So let's try to run this again. Yeah, that makes sense. So the answer is 1, right? So this is the correct answer. Code look also good. Let's try one more example. Uh, let's take 0 in between. So in this scenario, we only required 0. So let's again run this. We require 0. Okay, I think it is working fine. Let's try to do it for 5. I think for 5 also it is 0. It is 0. And let's make this as 1. So now the answer should be 1. So the answer is 1. So this is working fine. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll meet in the next video.